Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back. It is episode 19 of Fringe Fanatics. I am Chris Zane.
And I am Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Chad Lee, how the hell are you doing today?
I'm doing damn well. It was a good weekend.
Fantastic.
It was a great weekend.
Your Chiefs rolled this weekend, so that was nice.
It was, and I had a good sports gambling weekend. Ended up making a total of $373, I think. So.
Oh, yeah, with the win and
with the win and so
fantasy. Yeah, you got the win. Chad's a champion.
2 fantasy leagues this year, so
looking good.
Listeners, obviously, I mean, I could provide proof if you want.
You might know what he's talking about.
I might know what I'm talking about. A lot of luck involved. A lot of luck. Yeah.
Always, always, always.
Yep.
Well, for those of you that are listening or watching right now, please like, share, subscribe, follow, and rate us on whatever it is you are watching or listening to us on. And please like and follow us on any socials. And we also have an email, fringefanatics.podcast@gmail.com. If you guys have anything you want to get to us, any sort of questions, any sort of, topics you want us to talk about, DM us, email us, get at us, let us know, and we're going to try and start implementing stuff like that in the podcast now that the NFL is kind of slowing down and we've got some time opening up.
We are. Every now and then I'll get questions from people that maybe are a little more of a casual sports fans, like, hey, why was this a penalty or anything like that?
Yeah.
And they may not want to Google it or anything like that. We might know the answer. Who knows? We might just be able to say we don't
Someone
know.
might just Google it, though. But if they want to take the time to reach out to us to get that question answered, do it.
Yeah.
And we will.
Go ahead and say the Gmail one more time.
It is fringefanatics.podcast@gmail.com.
We want to hear from you guys. Anything you want us to talk about, question, please send it our way.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, we need to get into this week because we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
We got one thing we got to do first.
We got to do the leadoff shot.
And then I want to hear how your weekend went, you motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Not just all about business here, sir.
That's true. Sometimes it's so easy to just get caught up in the business.
That's true. Cheers to one season in the books.
One season in the books. Cheers to you guys. If you're watching, hopefully it's early in the morning and you're taking a shot with us. Cheers, buddy.
Not while you're driving.
And cheers to you guys.
Down the gullet. Damn. Have you noticed that Jameson's a little lower than the last time you got?
Yeah, what happened?
I've been drinking on it, man.
Why?
It's delicious.
Way to go.
I love the Caskmates.
How did my weekend been? It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Just lay low, watched a lot of sports. Watched the Nuggets just beat up on the Lakers last night.
Beat up on the Lakers, the Cavs on Friday night.
Yeah, now the teams are just taking the Nuggets as a rest day for the Stars because they're just assuming they're going to lose, I guess.
That seems to be the case. I saw where Kawhi got really pissed that he got benched in that game, but I mean, what do you expect? And then that
blown out,
game after that, they got benched too. So they got some rest. I mean, he's the king of load management.
Definitely. He was that way with the Spurs too, always.
Yeah, but did you go over to your dad's and watch the game?
I did. We went and watched the last win. Got that 5th win.
I bet you guys were glad to see the season end on a W.
Yeah, it was nice. Russ looked like he might actually be salvageable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, those bombs looked pretty vintage Russ, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
That pass to Judy where he was on the run and he threw that deep ball, that looked like vintage Russ.
Yeah, the one where he rolled out to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was nice.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was good to see them end on a high note. Apparently, Hackett was the main problem. Obviously, there was a lot of problems, Russ probably being number 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see a win, and yeah. Ended on a good note. How about you? How was your weekend? You guys went to Don's, right?
Yeah, we went to Don's. It was a good weekend. Saturday, I'm glad the game was on Saturday. It kind of gave us Sunday to get some stuff done. So we went to Don's. We met some friends at the SDS9 concert a couple of weeks ago, and they happen to be Chiefs fans. I mean, they're everywhere out here. Uh-huh. So we invited them to Don's because they had never been, and it's always great showing somebody Don's Tavern on 6th Avenue in Denver, if anybody isn't aware. And they were blown away by it. We told them when they walked in, and they were like, so you've never been here? And he's like, no, but I'm going to be here every weekend now. So that was really cool. And then, just on Sunday, we took down all the Christmas stuff that had been up way too long.
Oh, yeah, we did that. Well, Meryl did most of it. I just had to put it up in the crawl space. She did most of that this week, too.
Sweet. It's nice getting that stuff out of the way. Moving on to a new year.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, moving out. We got to talk about that college football championship game last night.
What a game.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a beatdown, which is, I think, a good argument as to why they need to add more teams for sure.
Yes,
because
they do.
You can have someone like TCU just have a really good game and just like they were like the perfect storm for Michigan.
Yeah.
And then just to see them, I mean, they were, I think, what was it? Well, I forgot what their favorite. I know at one point it was like 2 scores. It might have been more than that. It might
going
have been like
into
21,
the game.
Yeah.
I think it was 17 or it could have been 13. I can't quite remember, but I mean, I didn't expect that. Before the game, I thought, all right, I'm going to get a little risky here, and I put 5 on TCU. I think the line was at plus 545, so I was going to make like maybe $20 off of it or something. Not that much, but still a good, decent payout of $5. No, that $5 is gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went down the drain. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I thought that obviously Georgia was probably going to blow them out pretty good, but that was just insane. And Stetson Bennett, who's 30 years old, led them to his second championship.
Yeah.
That guy does have a pretty crazy story, though. He was a walk-on, went to JUCO, came back. Now he's like the best quarterback in Georgia history.
He was patient, waited, on the depth chart, and then last year kind of showed himself that he could do it, and then won that national championship. And then I heard today on ESPN where his 5 college football playoff games, including the national championship, he's thrown 18 touchdowns, 16, something like that, and only 1 interception. I mean, obviously he's like a quintessential college quarterback where, I mean, we've seen so many throughout the years. Jason White for Oklahoma comes to mind, where these guys, Jamarcus Russell, you look at him.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, that's another great one.
Tim Tebow.
Yep, where they're great in college, but then when they get to the big leagues.
I was just going to ask you about that. What do you think he's going to do when he makes it
He's
into
barely
the NFL?
6 foot, man, and I mean, he's scrawny. He's so scrawny. Yeah,
he was flexing last night.
He sure was. I mean, he's got an arm. There was some lasers he threw in there to that Bowers kid. That kid looks like he could be a Wes Welker type of receiver. I think he has an NFL career for sure.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that because I was just looking at him and then looking at his career and looking at highlights and stuff. I was like, he looks like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
just that guy who just tore up college and then just isn't gonna make it in the NFL.
It's crazy. There's so many guys that can be so successful in college, but then just pros is a different ball game,
Yeah, I did see a crazy stat from last night that they had 45 points in 45 plays or something like that.
It's unreal. When I was watching that game, so we talked about it earlier, but right before it started, I was like, yeah, we need to talk about the national championship tomorrow night too. 3 minutes later, 3 minutes into that game, I was like, well, maybe we could just talk about it for a little bit. There's not much to talk about. But one thing I did hear today, which is crazy because I knew last year they filled up that first round of the draft. They lost 15 starters, Georgia did, to the draft. And so this year they were starting, 16 to 17 freshmen and sophomores, and they still go undefeated dominated. I mean, that is a testament to Kirby Smart right there, which I think it says a lot that Georgia is now the big dog in college football, not Alabama.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about Nick Saban being on the broadcast. He was one of the analysts for the halftime show and the
really?
pregame stuff.
I guess I didn't realize that.
I think Deion Sanders was on there too at one point.
Oh, cool.
But somebody was talking, one of the analysts, I don't know who it was because I don't know that many of the college football analyst guys, but he was talking about how Georgia is now the top dog and the premier school, right? And Nick Saban's sitting next to him, and you just you're watching Nick Saban and he's just squirming. He's just
that's
fucking
great.
Pissed that they're talking about this shit.
I didn't realize that.
With a smile on his face.
That's fantastic. Well, I had to sit through this morning. I told you I watch First Take pretty much every morning, and I had to listen to Paul Feinbaum and Stephen A. go back and forth. And
I watched some of that.
Yeah, I loved Paul Feinbaum's take where he, it was an agreement that this is a new era. Georgia, he, made the point that it's not like Nick Saban isn't the GOAT. He's got 7 national championships.
Yeah.
There was a span in 6 to 8 years where they were either winning it or in it every single year. He is the GOAT. But right now, there's a new era and it's Georgia football.
Yeah, and it does look like Kirby Smart has figured out the transfer portal. So
yeah,
and it's working well for him.
It sure is. And I mean, actually, it's crazy because TCU, I think, had the most success for the transfer portal last year, where they had like 19 starters come through and then lead them to that, nearly undefeated season. But yeah.
Speaking of the transfer portal, I did see that now Colorado is the #1 school for transfers.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't wait for next year, man. Maybe we'll have to go to a game. That'd be pretty cool, man.
I guess my nephew, he goes there because he's a smart kid. He can get like discounted student tickets. I don't know if we can buy those.
Let's go. Yeah, fuck it. I mean,
I've never been to a college game. So
you never been to Folsom?
No.
Oh,
well, I've
Folsom.
been there because actually, I don't think I've actually been in the stadium, but I've heard it's a really fucking sweet stadium.
It's like all made out of brick, so it looks.
I've
just really
driven
old
by
school.
it. Yeah, we had our graduation there for high school, I think.
You graduated high school?
Yeah, I made it, dude. It was
Just
surprising. Everybody was really surprised.
Paid off the teachers
By
or
the
something.
skin of my teeth. I never understood that saying.
Skin of my teeth.
Yeah. What's skin?
What's the skin of my teeth? It's like one of those old sayings, like there are many ways to skin a cat or something. Like, who comes up with this shit?
Somebody that's skinned a lot of cats. I almost said skunned.
Skunned a lot of cats.
And now you are surprised I graduated high school.
Right. Who taught you this stuff, man? Oh god! All right, so
shit.
That was it was a blowout, 65-7. And I stopped watching when it was like a minute before halftime, and it was 31-7, and they had just scored the 31st point, and I'm like, okay, this game's clearly over. Not gonna watch anymore.
TCU should just wave the white flag.
Exactly. And then I get a notification that it was 38-7 at half. So
they scored another.
They scored another touchdown. And then I heard this morning that, like, when it was 50-something-7, they were on their own 30, and it was 4th and 5, and they went for it.
Oh, that's
Kirby Smart was sending a message last night.
Did you hear his pregame speech to the kids
about being hunted?
I don't know. Was he cursing a lot?
I just know how their whole motto was like, be the hunter.
No,
not the hunted.
he just like gave them like one of those rally speeches before the game, and like he was going off. He's like, we've been preparing for this for 365 fucking days, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna kick their asses, and just like went off, dude. It's like 3 minutes long.
Holy
and it's like that the whole time.
That's fucking awesome.
He's just like, we're gonna dominate.
We need to find this and post this.
Yeah, I'll find it. They were talking about it on sports radio today, and I watched it, and I was like, damn, dude.
Shit, I need to watch that before I work out or something.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
awesome.
I was getting like, the hairs are standing up. I was like getting ready to go run through a wall.
There's a reason why he's that good. I mean, he was Alabama's defensive coordinator for a good
a long time.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty uneventful for TCU. Did you see some of those watch parties
for TCU? No.
There was one where they were in this, like, it looked like they were in like the basketball arena, like the arena, I guess, whatever you want to call it for college. And like by halftime, like everybody left.
Oh god,
there's just like a few people there.
Shit, I bet, man.
And they're all just like sad, just staring at them.
It's truly one of those Cinderella stories that just ended in a tragic way.
Yeah, and
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Like
Georgia's
I said, there
good.
needs to be more teams, so that way a team like TCU gets weeded out before the national championship.
Well, mark it here first that Jalen Carter, the nose guard for Georgia, will probably be the #1 pick. Either that or Will Anderson for Alabama.
We'll see. We'll have to get into that stuff here soon. But yeah, who knows what Chicago's going to do? They could trade away that first pick.
God, how about the Texans just fucking... And
that's why Lovie Smith got fired.
Yeah, and I might do this later. I was gonna try to throw you like a change up when we do the Daily Dose of Excellence, and I'm gonna throw in Lovie Smith just real quick,
just for giving them the middle finger.
Yeah,
he knew they were gonna fire him anyways.
Went for 2 points. Like he wanted to win that game. Just give the middle finger to the front office.
Yeah.
And I think that's fucking awesome.
It was funny, too, because after the game, people were like, do you expect to be back next year? He's like, yeah, I expect to be back.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, dude, you're going to get fired in like 2 hours. And they did. They fired him like 3 hours later.
I'm a big fan of his, man. I hope he gets a good job somewhere else because he did a decent job with that. Like, it's so nuts their record doesn't really speak to how good they were because there's so many games where the Texans gave a lot of
They were like the Broncos this year. They were like a lot of one-score losses.
Yeah.
I think they're like 1 or 2 games behind the Broncos in terms of one-score losses.
Put up a fight in a lot of their games, and it's just, he doesn't deserve that Nick Caserio.
Yeah,
for
that guy
the Texans.
sucks. He came from the Patriots.
Yeah, and he's awful. He's not doing anything for him.
No, he's not. And then, I mean, they want to interview the Broncos defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero. And why would, like, dude, if I was a black coach, I would not go anywhere near the Texans.
No way.
The last two they've just fired after a year.
Yeah.
And they scapegoat you like you're the asshole.
Well, it's like they only wanted to bring Lovie Smith in as a temporary job, and it's just,
They ended up keeping him,
yeah, just
after they
fucked up.
fired I forget what his name was, Dave Collins?
Coley, I
Collins
think
or
was
something
it.
like that?
Macaulay, something like
Macaulay
that.
Culkin?
Yep, that was him. He was home alone down there in Houston.
He was. All right, well, let's get into our Week 18 picks and deep dives. We're just going to deep dive 2 games this week because we want to kind of go through all of the playoff games and wild card weekend. So we're going to just deep dive 2 games. I'm going to do Dallas versus Washington, and Chad's going to do Baltimore and Cincinnati. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right, Chad's going to go first.
All right, so the coin flip game.
Yeah.
Baltimore at Cincy. Yeah, this was at Cincy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cincy built a big lead in the first half, but played much more conservative in the second half. The Ravens had to start the third-string quarterback, Anthony Brown. Never heard of the guy before Sunday.
Me either. Yeah.
I know he played a few snaps earlier this season, but I couldn't remember who he was. And then the Bengals were gifted 4 turnovers from Baltimore, which they turned into 14 points. Baltimore, they were also without Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, Marcus Peters, and their cornerback, Brandon Stevens. So, I mean, if a few of those guys, they
sat.
probably could have played.
Yeah, they sat. Well, Dobbins they said they were going to rest him, which
Yeah.
is like they're saying we're going to lose.
So that's kind of it. They knew, without Lamar Jackson, they're just going to chalk this up to a loss. Then we'll get them in the playoffs. They knew how it was
Hopefully.
probably going to play out. And they did. They now are going to play him in the playoffs. And they do have the 3rd-ranked defense. It's hard I was shocked by it, but I heard it on PTI and I looked it up today. Yeah. They
The
do
Bengals?
No, the Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens?
Yeah.
Oh, they always have a good defense. That's one thing about them.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the past couple of years, it's fallen off. But I mean, here this year, once they added Roquan Smith, who got paid today.
Yeah. Oh, did he get paid?
You didn't see that? Oh, he
No.
got a bag, man.
Really? I missed
60
it.
million.
Damn.
Yeah, I can't remember how many. Maybe it was 4
I
years.
bet
or
Lamar
something.
was like, "You sons
I
of
know,
bitches."
right? You haven't even been here a full year. I can't wait to
I
see
can't
what they
get
do
paid.
with him. It's
And
gonna be
there's
nuts.
people think he might wind up in Carolina, possibly.
I've heard that. Yeah. So,
Who knows?
since he jumped out to an early lead, but the Bengals D, I mean, wait, hold on. I want to go back for real quick. So Anthony Brown had a rough day for his first career start. He threw 2 picks, lost a fumble in Cincinnati's end zone that was recovered by Cincinnati. That was not
Easy
good.
points.
Yeah, easy points there. The Bengals D also forced Sammy Watkins to fumble, which I kind of liked because not a fan of the way he left the Chiefs. And then Burrow didn't have to do much in the game because I know they were trying to play conservative to make sure he didn't get hurt or throw too many interceptions and lose the game. But the Ravens just kept giving the Bengals short fields, which made it really easy on them. But Burrow did hit Chase on a dime in the end zone, like on a 26-yard TD. That was just absolute beautiful pass.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like every single week, whether it's Higgins, Boyd, or Chase, this guy's proven where he's the top 3 quarterback, if not
For
number
sure.
1 every time. Yeah.
He's really good at football.
He is. Oh, and the last point I have to make, and I text you right after it happened because I just found it, just chef's kiss. It was so fantastic.
Oh, the celebration.
Because for you, those out there that don't know, the Bengals got really they were the only team that was hosed over this game getting canceled last week, and then the new
Chiefs
rule.
made out like bandits.
They kind of did. Whatever. Not going to complain about it.
Bandits, y'all.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the Bengals would have beat the Bills, we would have still been the number 1 seed.
You would have.
Yeah, because we would have still clobbered the Raiders, which we did too.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to it. So, the league had said that if the Ravens had beat the Bengals in this game that I'm covering, then the Ravens would have the tiebreaker against the Bengals. They would technically be the divisional champs. But
Yeah.
the Bengals had already been crowned the divisional champs. So when they meet in the playoffs, they were going to hold a coin flip, which was going to be supervised by Roger Goodell himself. Yeah,
You
who
gotta
knows?
have him there.
You gotta
He's-
have the sheriff there. Who the fuck cares?
Hey,
So
that's Peyton Manning.
Mixon pulled off one of the best TD celebrations I've seen in a while because of the meaning of it. He runs in for a running touchdown, pulls a coin out of his sock and flips it, and then kicks the coin too.
Yeah, he kicked the football or something. Yeah, like for the kickoff.
Yeah, I just found that fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Such a big fuck you to the league, because if there was a team that got fucked out of that,
Yeah,
it was the Bengals. Because Mixon, I don't know if you saw this, but Mixon, there was a few other players, I'm missing it right now, that tweeted throughout the week after the rule changes came out, the actual screenshots of the rule book, and they were violating the rule book.
Yep.
Granted, there were
They're
some
just
very
going to say it's unprecedented.
unseen circumstances
that's what they're
of
gonna
court.
say. And they'll win because they make the rules.
Yeah, that's how it goes. They are the shield.
But I bet you Mixon will have one of those FedEx envelopes in his locker with a nice hefty fine.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I'm sure he will. And you know what? He'll probably be like one of those other cool guys, and he'll take that and match it with the donation to a charity.
Exactly. Well, they donate that money anyways. I think they go into the NFL charity fund.
Right. But
yeah,
it was just great. I mean, I was watching it live, and I saw that, and my jaw dropped. I was like, no way. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Bengals will see the Ravens back-to-back. They'll see them in the playoffs, and the Bengals will be the ones hosting the game.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Dallas versus Washington in the upset of the week, I think. Washington wins 26-6. We had both picked Dallas because that was the sane pick, because I don't think anybody really saw Washington beating up on the Dallas the way they did, and the Cowboys just crawl into the playoffs like they've been shot in an old spaghetti western.
I'll get there.
They claim that none of them were paying attention to what was going on in Philly, and maybe they should have, because they might have played with some actual urgency in this game. Prescott, 14 of 37, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 6 carries for 16 yards. Continues his streak to 7 games with an interception. This was a big one, as it was returned by Kendall Fuller for a pick 6, which would wind up equally the amount of points that Dallas mustered on offense. At the end of the season yesterday, Prescott was tied with Davis Mills at 15 for the most interceptions in the league, managing to do so after missing 5 games, which is pretty crazy. He also became the first QB to either lead or tie after missing 5+ games in the interceptions. But Dak was not the only problem this week, unfortunately. One thing I did want to mention, the only other people to do that, which only had 4, they were all tied, was Norm Snead in 1973, Jake Plummer in 1999, Carson Wentz in 2020. Those guys were all tied with 4 games missed and leading the league in interceptions. Dallas has been 8-4 since his return. He has completed 67.7% of his passes for 2,726 yards with 23 touchdowns to go with 15 interceptions. Surprisingly, he still has a 94.6 passer rating, which is 9th in the NFL, which I think is crazy. He's still up there in passer rating.
It blows me away. I don't know how he earned that.
Like I said, Dak wasn't the only problem. The Cowboys could not get the running game going, which has been their strong suit all year long. Neither Pollard or Zeke could get anything going. I think it had a lot to do with them losing the offensive tackle Terrence Steele.
Yeah.
It seems like since that happened, the last couple weeks they have struggled a little bit. The team had a rushing total of 64 yards.
Jesus.
Yeah, Pollard returned from a thigh injury after missing last week. Barely eked out 19 yards to get him over 1,000 and make him the first back to lead the team on rushing other than Zeke. Zeke only managed 8 carries for a whopping 10 yards. He was outrushed by Dak, and the leading rusher of the game was Malik Davis. Do you know who that is?
That's their third string running back,
the
right?
third string running back was the leading rusher this game.
Jesus.
CeeDee Lamb obviously was the only bright spot. 5 receptions, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. He was the leading receiver. Dalton Schultz was closely behind him, 4 receptions for 33 yards. What really killed the Cowboys was special teams. They had that punt that Anger dropped in the beginning of the game that set up the first score for Washington.
Yep.
Kayvon Turbin had a fumbled punt. Maher missed an extra point. Washington didn't really have to do too much. I mean, QB Sam Howell, he did throw his first touchdown, as a rookie.
I was hoping you'd mention him. He had a great game.
He did. I mean, it wasn't much, dude. 11 of 19, 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 carries for 35 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He did become the second quarterback since Robert Griffin III to have, or the second rookie quarterback, I'm sorry, to have a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown in their first game. Let's see what else.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, I mean, even though it was only 35 yards, when I was watching that game, it was
effective.
It was so effective because he would get first downs, and he was very sneaky with his running. I doubt, of course, he'll be the Commanders' starting quarterback next year.
Who knows what they're going to do.
But he really showed some good tape.
Definitely. Terry McLaurin, he was the shining spot of the year for the Commanders. He set a career high in receiving yards, and he also caught the 1 touchdown pass. He wound up with 74 yards with that touchdown. After making the dumb decision to start Wentz, they were eliminated last week from the playoffs, and now Ron Rivera may be one of the coaches who I'm actually surprised we haven't heard has been fired yet.
Yeah, and, I thought he would be fired after that comment where he was like, oh, we would be eliminated?
I did see – seriously, dude, he looks so stupid.
That's so dumb.
We can be eliminated? Fuck.
Someone not tell him that.
But I do think he might actually stick around because they did fire the OC today. I saw that.
That's right, Scott Turner.
And if they're going to fire, offensive coordinators, then they're probably not going to fire the coach.
Yeah.
They're going to give him one more shot.
It's so tough to fire him when he recovered from cancer.
Yeah, and he's done a lot for that team.
He has.
They've hung in there and he's had nothing.
Yeah.
Every year. And this year they think they've got Carson Wentz, and then he commanded them to a lot of interceptions and a terrible record.
Right.
But that wraps up my deep dive of Dallas and Washington. So we can now move on to the playoff pandemonium.
Well, should we let's get into the Saturday games. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's start with the Saturday games. It's wild card weekend. So the Saturday games, number 7 Seahawks take on the 49ers, who are number 2. The spread's -10.
Yep.
So San Fran is supposed to win and win good.
So I'm taking the Seahawks to cover the 10 points, but the Niners will win the game.
I don't think they're going to cover.
You don't think the Seahawks will? Okay.
But, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, either way, the Niners are going to win this game. Geno and Lockett, man, they will make this a close game, I think, just because of them. The 49ers they do have some holes in their secondary. And last week, I saw maybe the most beautiful pass I've seen all year long. It was definitely in the top 10. Geno hit Lockett on an over-the-shoulder touchdown pass that was perfect football. I mean, and if you haven't seen it, go look at it. That's how football's supposed to be played.
I mean, Geno right now, I think, is in running for the comeback player of the year. I think he's leading comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
So I got to give him credit, dude. The guy's balled out. He broke, was it?
Russell Wilson's passing yards record.
Was it yards or completions?
I'm pretty sure it's passing yards.
He broke something of Russell Wilson.
It might have been
so,
both.
yeah, that looks really good for Russell Wilson.
Isn't that nuts? Because for so long in the Seahawks Nation, they just kept saying, "Oh, let Russ cook, let Russ cook."
Yeah, you can't let Russ cook. You got to keep him contained.
Russ leaves, and then he lets Geno cook, and it works out.
Yeah, no, it's fucked up.
It is.
It's my life.
Yeah.
It's my life, now or never. The thing, though, that I wanted to bring up, this is obviously the third time they faced off. San Fran has dominated them on defense in both of those games.
Yeah.
First game in week 2, 27-7. Week 15, 21-13. The only advantage I think Seattle has is the fact that rookie QBs struggle in the playoffs. They've gone 9-18 since 1983.
Oh, that's an important stat.
It is. So you see that happen a lot, man. The playoffs, everybody talks about it. It might not seem like it, but things change. Things change, and it's one game, and you could be out. Look what happened with TCU and Michigan.
Yeah.
Case in point. One other thing. Geno he has 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions against San Fran's defense in those games. Seattle's 30th ranked defense versus the 9th ranked ground attack of San Fran, I think, is also going to have a lot to do with this.
And you get C-Mac, who's kind of rested quite a bit over the last 2 weeks. But the big kicker here is the Seahawks offensive line. I mean, they really allow a lot of sacks towards Geno. I know when the Chiefs played him, they gave up 6 sacks to him.
Yeah, they are starting 2 rookie tackles, though, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And they've done pretty well. None of them, I think only one's missed 1 game. But, yeah, they're struggling.
And then you're going up against the team that I believe is leading the league in sacks.
Yeah, and they're going to have the Defensive Player of the Year as well.
Yep, Nick Bosa. He finished the season at 18.5 sacks. Yeah, he's definitely getting Defensive Player of the Year, but, I mean, I would expect that that's going to be the big kicker there. I mean, they're probably going to sack Geno at least 5 times. They're not going to let him get comfortable. And the other thing is Seattle is ranked, I want to say, 31st or 30th against tight ends. And George Kittle has been
off, man.
eating, man. He took me into that fantasy championship, and it's been working out.
He's been averaging like 2 touchdowns a game for the last 4 weeks. And speaking of which, most of those touchdowns are coming from big old Brock, Big Cock Purdy. 2 touchdowns in 6 consecutive games this rookie has.
I like him, man.
He's got shit already going to the Hall of Fame. His what was it? They sent something of his to the Hall of Fame for his first 2 wins as a rookie.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. They do that shit. It's like Kendall Hinton on the Broncos.
Yeah.
His jersey and shit went to the Hall of Fame for the COVID game when all of our quarterbacks got suspended for taking off their COVID bracelets.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a big thing. Also, San Fran's on a 10-game win streak. Seattle's 3-5 since week 10, but they did win the last 2 weeks, so at least they are coming into the playoffs with a little bit of steam.
Yeah.
I just think they're running into a buzzsaw that is one of the most well-rounded teams in the league right now.
That defense right now is just, I mean, ferocious.
Yeah, they are messing people up.
They are.
They're just shutting people down.
Dude, I see Nick Bosa come off the field, and I'm like, is that an Avenger out there? The dude is fucking
looks like the Hulk.
jacked, man.
Yeah.
It's no wonder he's Defensive Player of the Year.
His neck and his head are the same width.
He's just fucking clotheslining guys out there. It's like, shit.
So it's pretty crazy. I think San Fran's going to roll to a pretty easy win in this one. Like I said earlier, I think they win 24-10.
Yeah, I may be taking a risk saying that the Seahawks cover.
You never know, though. Like I said, it's the playoffs.
That's why
I've been wrong a lot this year.
The 9-18 record that you mentioned by the rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs, like, it's a different type of ball game when it's prime time when you're playing. It's not. There's no other games playing right there.
Yeah, Pete's been there a lot.
Yeah,
and he is a defensive coach. So
and Tariq Woolen, man, he might get the Defensive Player of the Year or rookie Defensive Player of the Year.
It's possible.
Tied with 5 other players with 6 interceptions on the year.
Yeah,
your boy Justin Simmons is one of those.
Yeah, I know. And he got snubbed at the fucking Pro Bowl.
Oh, that's
they let T.J. Watt get in. He missed like 8 games. Justin missed like 5. Justin's tied with everybody with 6 interceptions.
T.J. Watt made the Pro Bowl.
He missed like 8 fucking games.
Dude, the Pro Bowl's a joke.
Yeah, and well, it's flag football now, anyways. They just need to just have it. Just you made it. Way to go. Pat him on the back.
Pat him on the back.
You did it.
Well, they just need to change up the formula for, fan voting having a difference in it, because that's some bullshit, man.
Yeah, I think the fan voting is such bullshit, because you'll just have people get on like a bandwagon and they like a guy, and then you just have people hammering the voting, and it's just like there's guys that deserve to be there way more than that guy, and that guy does deserve to be there, but
yeah, it's not worth it. I mean, I like voting on the Pro Bowl, but I mean, this is the first year that it probably in 4 or 5 years that I didn't vote, because I just don't agree with how the formula works and who makes it and all that. And the only thing that matters is the All-Pro. That's really what matters.
Yeah, that's what gets you the real accolades. I mean, the Pro Bowls are nice, but let's move on to Chargers at Jags. You've got the 5th seed Chargers at the 4th seed Jags, as the Jags have an improbable comeback season and they win their division.
I forgot that these teams played each other early in the year.
The
Jags walloped them at 38-10.
Yeah, Lawrence threw 3 touchdowns in that game, and their offense put up 413 yards.
Yeah, man, I love to see the Jags play this well.
They're scary, man. That's what I think. Were they our team of the year? Like, was that going to be the
that
Fringe?
was the Lions.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the Lions. Well, I think they're going to be my team of the playoffs.
Yeah, let's do that,
but
man.
even though I'm picking them to lose. So.
I do have the Chargers winning, unfortunately, but I hope the Jags win.
Yeah, I hope the Jags win, too.
As a Chiefs fan, I really don't want to see the Chargers in the playoffs. Mike Williams did come up with a back injury in that game. We just read recently that it was the MRI revealed it was a contusion. Mr. Dr. Chris, what does that mean? was a contusion.
He's got an ouchie.
Yeah, that's what that means. I know, right? They say contusion.
Well, I think contusion's like you've got like a bruised muscle.
It's a
basically.
very deep bruise,
yeah,
I think.
It's a muscle bruise.
Well, he had to be carted off, which isn't a good
He looked
sign.
like he was dying when they tried to pull him off that car. He's like, ah!
Oh, back spasms.
Dude, I know.
Worse, man.
Yeah, you saw me at Joe's when I had my fucking sciatic out. That shit was fucked up.
It's the worst. I've had it too. So that's going to be a big difference in this game. My guess too is this is the game that decides Brandon Staley's job.
Oh yeah, if they lose, especially after the debacle of the Broncos game where he left everybody in the third quarter, you have Mike Williams get carted off. You have Nick Bosa come up lame.
Joey
Bosa. God damn it, we just talked about Nick. Yeah, which has been why he missed all of this season was the groin injury. So he looked stupid. A game that meant nothing to them. They couldn't move up. They already knew where they were going to be when the Ravens lost. And I get, you planned all week. Dude, he should have pulled him out after the first quarter.
So dumb, man.
Or halftime even.
Yeah.
Halftime.
There's
You already lost
chance
Mike Williams.
There's a good chance they won't have Mike Williams. And that is, we've seen all year long, that is a huge difference maker in that offense. I mean, Josh Palmer's great. DeAndre Carter's good. But
yeah, Mike Williams is like a pseudo number one.
Dude, that guy's catch 2 weeks ago. Did you see that one-handed vacuum catch?
Yeah.
He's good. And so when he has Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, that is a scary team.
Yeah.
But if he has just one of those guys, they're vulnerable. So, you got to take into account here the Jags. They are home, and you wouldn't think it, but down there in Duval, Florida,
Duval County.
Yeah, they have got some fans showing out in the past 4 or 5 weeks when they've been on a run. I've been hearing reports
I think they still have those tarps over the majority of the stadium, but what's open up?
I don't know. I haven't.
They're full.
For what I've heard, is people have been showing out and been loud.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure their first playoff game since they went to that AFC Championship, 5 years ago or so, they're going to be. Yeah, Blake Bortles.
Hero.
Yeah, they're going to be
the legend.
Loud there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's playing in Florida is, it's not, at least it's not the middle of the summer.
Well, they're going across the country too.
Yeah.
And we saw a couple weeks ago, that's why I picked Seattle against the Jets, because I mean it's just physical circumstances. And your body has to travel across the country. It doesn't time zone, world, astronomy, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Science,
bitch.
I just think the big thing is while the Chargers were kind of on an uptick, that debacle with the Broncos, I think, did throw a wrench in the momentum they had going into the playoffs. I think they would have been better off just resting people. The Jags have won 6 out of their last 7. We talked about it the last couple of weeks. Lawrence has had multiple games with 300-plus yards, 3+ touchdowns. ETN has had a couple 100-yard games, and this defense in the last 3 teams they played has held them to 7.3 points, which is pretty wild. This defense is coming on finally.
Well, that and the Chargers' run defense has never really tightened up. And
No.
ETN, like you just said, has had 100-yard games. He's a great running back.
Yeah, that was one thing I wrote down. Los Angeles' run defense is ranked 27th, so ETN may eat in this game, and I think he might have to because while Lawrence did have all those stats, the last couple games he has had a couple little issues.
Yeah.
He's only had 1 rushing and 1 passing touchdown and 1 interception in the last 3 weeks, so
Yeah.
I think they might actually have to rely on the running game to win this.
I thought they would play a lot better against the Titans last Saturday night. I don't know what that was about. I know Variable was trying to get his team charged up as much as he could.
I think that defense is a pretty good defense, and they play for Vrabel. I think that's why you saw them fire every offensive or every assistant he had, and he's sticking around. But yeah, I think they're just a tough team.
Yeah,
and they always are going to play tough.
Christian Kirk, man, I'm so glad I drafted him this year. I mean, he was catching everything the other night. I think he could be a real difference maker in this. Like I said, I'm picking the Chargers, unfortunately, but I hope the Jags win.
Yeah, I've also got the Chargers in this one. I think it might be a pretty close game, like 21-17 type game.
I could see that.
I think the big kicker, though, is Chargers have the 5th-ranked passing offense going up against the 27th-ranked pass defense. And with Eckler, Williams, if he plays, Keenan Allen, Palmer, I think they just got a lot more weapons that Herbert is better at using.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Eckler, I think, is the real big difference maker. I mean, that dude's, his nickname is pound for pound for a reason.
Yeah, he does one-handed pull-ups.
Solid.
It's Colorado boy right there.
That's right. It comes from Western Colorado on a ranch.
Yes, sir.
True Yellowstone motherfucker right there.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, before we get into Sunday, we are going to take a quick break, and that is the musical break.
Yeah,
and
let's
like
hear
I said,
some Fast Eddie.
this month it is my boys Fast Eddie. This song is Take a Look. It is off of their album of the same name, Take a Look. So it's easy to look up. Just take a look and go check them out. We'll be back here in just a second. All right, you just heard Take a Look by Fast Eddie. If you haven't yet, please go like and follow their pages. Well, go to fasteddy.com and buy all of their stuff. It does well for them, and it helps us out because we help them out, and everybody's happy that way. So we are going to get back in to the wild card weekend games. So let's get back into the Sunday games. But first, we have the shot at the turn.
We do. We need to do it this time.
Yeah, I remembered it this week.
That's right.
Look at me go.
All right. Cheers, Chris.
Cheers. Shot at the turn, halfway through episode 19. And cheers to you guys for tuning in. Thank you as always.
To Odin.
It's not Thor's Day, dude.
It's always Thor's Day.
It's Tuesday.
We always cheers to Odin. One day we'll be in Valhalla drinking with the gods.
We are warriors.
Oh, yes.
We are podcast warriors.
That's right.
All right, let's get into the Sunday games. The first game up is the Dolphins at Bills. You've got the 7th seed Dolphins at the 2 seed Bills. The spread is 10 in favor of the Bills.
Let's take a look and see how to. Right now, it just says questionable. Doesn't give any details on it.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
expected to play.
I don't really have that much on this game because I don't think there's going to be too much to this game.
No.
They did split the game series, their 2-game series this year, but they've had different endings to their years. Both of those games were close games. The big question, though, like we talked about, is Tua healthy? If not, is Teddy healthy? If not, is Skyler starting? So if no Tua, I think the Bills are just going to roll in this game with like a 2-touchdown win, and they might take their foot off the gas in like the 3rd or 4th quarter. And they're also still riding that emotional burst from DeMar Hamlin. So
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big motivational factor here. Tyreek had an ankle injury in that game. He's not on the injury report, which is really surprising.
can he come out and come back in?
Yeah, he came back in, but then later, towards the end of the game, he left the game where I think they were winning, and they're okay. Let's just keep him safe. But I figured he would at least pop up on the.
That was a barn burner of a game.
Yeah, it really was. Raheem Mostert's on the injury report too.
Broken thumb.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Against the Jets is serious. Damn, that is a big blow to them.
Yeah, that's tough for a running back, having all the broken thumber. I think, though, the big thing that we need to look at is the Bills just put up 35 on the Pats' 5th-ranked defense. The scoring defense. The only problem I see in this game for the Bills is Allen and his red zone turnovers.
Yeah.
He has been turning the ball over a lot lately.
Luckily, the Miami defense has really been falling off all year long. I think they limped into the playoffs barely. I mean, I was really thinking they were going to lose this game, and somebody else would have made it. The Steelers would have made it.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen the Steelers make it. But either way, they're going to be in it. I agree. I just think that the Bills are going to roll in this game. I've got them winning by 14 plus. What is the spread? Do you have it?
It's -10.
Yeah, okay, -10. Thanks for telling me. They are down to their 3rd-string safety, the Bills are. So we saw last week that did matter. There was times where the Pats were able to pick them off.
Yeah.
They, you did mention how they put up 35 points on the fifth ranked defense, but they really only put up kind of 21 points because
of those two awesome kick returns.
That was
by
pretty
Naheem
amazing.
Hines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we didn't really get into that.
That was pretty cool. Go ahead and mention that crazy coincidence stat.
Oh, yeah. It was 3 years and 3 months since the last time the Bills had a kick return. And then, what was the other one? There was another crazy stat, too.
First, that's DeMar Hamlin's number. It was 3. So that's a weird coincidence there.
Yeah. And then the fact that he had 2 was insane. And I guess like all year, supposedly DeMar's been talking to Naheem like, oh, we just got to get him the ball. He's going to break one soon. He's going to break one. And I guess while he was watching the game, he tweeted out something about he's just got to get the ball to Naheem.
The first thing I saw when I was watching Red Zone, where he just tweeted, "Oh my fucking god!"
Oh, on the first one, yeah.
I don't know what he said on the second one.
I don't know what he said on the second one either. But it was cool seeing Allen after the game get emotional talking about that, and just like that's just like I've never gotten that emotional by one play like in any football game in my entire life. And he's like, that was just like insane.
Yeah, I mean it's a storybook kind of writing right here. It's almost like a movie that you kind of see. This probably will be made into a Netflix movie eventually. With
probably
nobody expected him to come out and be as conscious and be as coherent as he is.
Yeah, he's
right
basically
now.
Fine, which is insane.
It's insane. As far as I know,
he's fucked up still, but
yeah, I don't know shit about anatomy and health. I mean, I got a B in that when I was in college and stuff. But the thing of it is, as far as what I knew, when you don't have a heartbeat for 9 to 10 minutes, there's a good chance you're gonna have brain damage, severe brain damage,
like a vegetative state.
He's still making tweets and is on social media. And the thing of it is, I wanted to say this last week, but afterwards I forgot. And I just want to mention this now. I will always want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, but clearly a big but here. If the Bills win this year,
it'd be the storybook ending of all
I
time.
won't be too mad about it, okay? Because when the Chiefs won it a few years back, it had been 50 years since they had done it. And I don't think the Bills have ever won the Super Bowl.
No.
They have one of the most loyal fan bases. They have one of the most...
went to 4 straight and lost them all.
Exactly, with Jim Kelly. And they have one of the most charitable fan bases. When a player from another team gets hurt or something happens,
donate money in droves. Yeah.
They are a fan base that is considered one of the best fan bases in the NFL.
They're also the craziest.
They also had their longtime radio announcer die of a stroke.
Did he die? No, I think he just was in the hospital.
Okay, where I did see where he
had a stroke.
Yeah, going through some hard times.
Like a week ago, like before the game.
Died, but yeah,
I think he's okay.
I think I was fed misinformation.
It's okay,
but
it happens. There's so much of it.
There is, but it's just they're due. Yeah. Okay. My bias, my heart always lies with the Chiefs to win, but like with practicality in the storybook, if the Bills win the Super Bowl, it will be a storybook ending.
Yeah, this season. It would be the coolest thing that's happened in a while in terms of like just the entire thing. So I'm looking forward to it, and we'll talk about it later. They may be my pick to win it all. Let's move on to the Giants at the Vikings. You got the 6 seed Giants. The Vikings are the 3 seed. The spread is -3 in favor of the Vikings. This is a rematch of one of the craziest games of the year. It is the Vikings' first home game since the Minneapolis Miracle in 2018, where Stephon Diggs had that catch over Marcus Williams with 9 seconds left to win that game.
Yep.
But Minnesota is the most untrustworthy 13-4 team in recent memory.
They are.
I don't think anybody it has that much faith in them.
Nobody's had a point differential as bad as they are for a team that has that record.
That record at home.
Yeah.
In a playoff game, mind you. Yeah, which is insane.
So when they played the Giants earlier this year, they barely pulled out the win. It was a nail-biter, but I think this game, that last game, Daniel Jones didn't really have too many designed runs, and I think you're going to see the difference in this one where they're going to use Daniel Jones' legs a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, he has been throwing the ball pretty well these last couple weeks, though. I mean, he hasn't been just running the ball, but I think the big thing that you have is, for one, can Kirk Cousins be trusted in this game? especially with what they've got going on the O-line.
It is considered a primetime game.
I know.
Yeah, that's right. They did lose that.
They've got,
offensive
let's
lineman.
see, right tackle Brian O'Neill, guard Austin Schlottman, both on IR, and their center, Garrett Bradbury, hasn't played since week 13. I think their biggest chance to win this game would to be running it, but with that issues at the O-line, Dalvin Cook has been rendered ineffective in the past weeks, and he's going to struggle, unfortunately, against the New York Giants, who are ranked 28th in rush defense. Because I just think with that O-line issues, he's going to have a hard time breaking out of anything up the middle.
Man, Dexter Lawrence and then Kayvon Thibodeau, those guys have been just stars for the Giants. I mean, they, it reminds me back when they went on that Super Bowl run. I think I mentioned this earlier this year, like a month or two ago, where they've got stars now.
Yeah.
They
like
got
when they had Pierre-Paul,
Justin Tuck,
and
of course Michael Strahan. Yeah, and so those guys, I mean,
I think that was the beginning of the NASCAR package, if I remember correctly. I think that was like the first time the NASCAR package was used, when they put like 5 D linemen or like 4 D linemen out on the field, and just it was like an all-out rush.
And the thing of it is this is a primetime game, because even though it's not, it's a 2:30. Even though it's not nighttime, it's still considered a primetime game because there's
everybody's
no
going to be watching. So.
And so that's when Kirk Cousins turns into Kirko
Bangs.
Yeah, he has a hard time.
Well, and like we talked about, with them just being untrustworthy, they're the first 12-win team with a negative point differential ever. Before week 18, the Vikings hadn't won by more than 8 points since week 1.
Yeah.
So all of these games are close, and when they lose big. All 4 of their losses have been over 11 points, and 2 of those were 24 plus.
Oh, they got blown out.
They got blown out
3 times this year.
Yeah,
they were 11-0 in one-score games this year. That does bode well for them. But the big kicker here is the Giants, they got a fresh Saquon Barkley coming in. And that does not work well for the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings have allowed an average of 138.7 rushing yards over the last 6 games. Saquon is going to feast.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's going to have a good game. I don't even think Daniel Jones is going to have to do too much.
Yeah.
I think it'll just be a straight running game. And if you're running the ball that effectively, that's going to render Kirk Cousins ineffective because he's off the field. So,
and that
takes away Justin Jefferson.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Because that's what he tries to go to every time. And if you can take away him, I mean, they proved it. Oh God, the booze are starting to sink in. Who was it that shut down Justin Jefferson for like one?
Oh, that was Zaire.
Yeah, the Packers.
Yeah.
So they showed if you can take your best corner and then just shadow him the whole time, shut down Jefferson, Thielen's not going to beat you. Hawkinson's not going to beat you.
No, Thielen.
And I meant to mention, when you were talking about Dalvin Cook earlier, he got really banged up in that game. It looked like he was going to be taken out. He did come back, but he's still pretty banged up. Going into the playoffs without a bye week, that's not,
Yeah, I just feel like the Giants are having a better year, even though they have a worse record. And they're playing for Brian Dable, and you can tell that they've that team is shaped in what he wants, and they're playing the way that they need to with what they have.
Who do you think deserves the Coach of the Year, Brian Dable or Doug Peterson?
Doug Peterson.
I think so too. If you look, I mean, they were like 1-15.
They won 2 games.
2 games.
4 games in the last 2 years.
Yeah. So I definitely think it was Doug Peterson. But damn, Brian Dable is. If there's a runner-up
he's got to be right there.
He's got to be it. A lot of people talk.
Third in the running would be Nathaniel Hackett.
I was like, what did I just hear?
Sorry.
Definitely.
Had to throw that in there.
I thought you were doing like worst Coach of the Year.
Oh, no, yeah, he's there. He didn't even make it to the end of the year. So, in that game.
So, who do you have picked?
I've got the Giants, dude. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think they're going to upset the Vikings.
I think so too, man.
Like another 21-17 game.
Yeah.
Pretty close. It's not going to be high scoring.
I think it could be a weird score game, like 25-17 maybe.
Yeah, weird. Get like a safety in there or something.
Scorigami or something.
Scorigami never happened before. You never know.
But I've got the Giants pick. I'd love to see the Giants in there. I like Brian Dable a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go much farther than this round. if they do win, but I think it's a great story, and it's good for the Giants, man. I don't know. It sucks when teams are fucking terrible unless you hate them, like, you know, the Raiders or the Cowboys, the teams that a lot of people hate. But, I mean, a lot of people hate the Broncos, too, so it's okay. And we are terrible. But it's just nice when people are better because it makes the NFL more entertaining.
It does. You know, we get tired of seeing, like, the Pats, and, you know, I know a lot of
or
people
like every Thursday night game was just the shit game of the week. It's the Jaguars versus
the Titans for so long. Yeah.
Or like Cleveland or something like that. So it's just better when the NFL is better. But yeah, it's cool when teams that have been shitty for a while make a turnaround.
So we got 2 games left, and after that, Chris and I are going to give you our prediction of our 2022-2023 playoff bracket and how we think it'll turn out.
Bracket breakdown.
We're putting it in writing, etched in history, so that after the playoffs we can go back and be like, we told you so.
Yeah, we'll see how I do. I'm not doing the best this year.
Maybe you'll have a better year next year.
Yeah, let's hope. There's always next year. Let's move on to Ravens, the 6th seed, at Bengals, the 3 seed. The spread is 6.5, and I think that is going to waver a lot depending on who's starting. Right now, Lamar is supposed to start, but it is still up in the air.
It's so weird how we haven't seen any footage or any reporting about him on the field, practicing. It's kind of shady.
It is a little bit. And that's the thing, man. I mean, they did split their season series. Lamar and Baltimore won week 5, 19-17, since he got one back last week, 27-16, obviously, against the Lamarless Ravens, to render the coin flip for home field pointless. But that's the thing, man. Even if Lamar does come back, he hasn't played in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
How ready is he going to be? And then how healthy is he, for one? He's got a pretty major PCL sprain from the looks of it if he's missed 6 weeks, almost a third of the season. I don't know. I don't think they have a chance even if he is healthy.
I think their only chance is keeping Joe Burrow on the sideline by running the ball a lot. They're going to be getting J.K. Dobbins back. They're going to get Mark Andrews back. And, of course, Lamar Jackson. So I think they're going to try to run the hell out of the ball. So I think it'll be a really low-scoring game, maybe a 17-21 game, 24. But the Bengals, they now are out. They've lost 2 offensive line starters, Lil Collins and Alex Kappa, 2 guys they acquired in the offseason.
Yeah.
Last week it seemed like they were able to hold their own without those guys. But, you know, coming into this week with Roquan Smith. Yeah, they got a little bit of list there. With him getting paid, I wonder, you know, sometimes when these guys get paid, they try to show why they're worth that money.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've got Cincy picked. Their favorite 6.5. It's just, it's hard to bet against Joe Burrow. He's kind of like
Joe
that
Cool,
tongue.
man.
Yeah, he's just, you saw him with a cigar after the game. He's just so confident. Did you see his clip? We should talk about that comment that he made.
Which clip?
So he was asked in the
when
press
they
conference,
said, "What's your window?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "As long as I'm playing."
That was so gangster, man. It's just,
he just says it so nonchalant too.
So
it's one
cool.
thing if if you're brash and a dick about it, but when you're just like, "As long as I'm playing,"
as long as it's my whole career.
Yeah.
Like every 2 weeks, he has a snippet of something he says in a press conference that's just a soundbite that'll go live on forever.
I watched a clip today of him on the Manning cast, and it was during the Patriots game. And I forget who they were playing, but they did the picture of Mac Jones side by side with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow looks cool as shit in his uniform, like kicked back, smoking his cigar.
Yeah.
And then Mac Jones is there with his shirt off, and he looks all frumpy and
I
not in shape. And everybody gave him shit about that. And they asked Joe, they're like, "Well, who do you think did it better?" And he's like, "Man, no offense to Mac Jones, but I think I got him." I was like, damn, dude.
His confidence, and that's what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. I mean, we're seeing it with Brock Purdy. That's why I have a lot of faith with him, because if you have any bit of doubt in yourself, you're not going to make it in the NFL as a quarterback.
No. One thing, though, I did want to mention, and I think it bodes to how this game is going to go, and maybe to alluding to who's going to start, is the fact that I think if Lamar wasn't going to play this game, they would have not rested who they rested and actually tried to win that game last week. the fact that they rested people and J.K. Dobbins basically just took the day off does make me feel like they know Lamar is going to be ready, and they're putting all their eggs in that basket, and they're going to go full bore for this week. I just don't think they're going to have enough. Joe Burrow is, I think, going to roll. I don't have this being a close game. Cincinnati's on an 8-game win streak. They look good bouncing back after the whole Monday night debacle. I mean, everybody was like wondering like how are these teams going to play, what's going to happen. They look fine. I think even with Lamar, they win like,
he was a little out of sync with T. Higgins. I did notice that. T. Higgins, which makes sense.
The thing, though. He's got 2 other guys, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase.
I know, believe me. But that's just it. Is like
shit, Samaje Perine might be better than Joe Mixon. I don't know anymore.
Seriously, dude. He's got such a cool name. Samaje Perine. I'm so jealous. I wish I had that name.
It just reminds me of like rinds. Like melon rinds. You know what I mean? Pea rind.
What are you talking about right now?
Melon
dude. Rinds. What are you? What?
Like the rind, like a watermelon. You know the part you don't eat.
Like
the
a
white
rind.
rind.
Oh, okay.
Not wine, rind.
Like an RH rind.
Is it RH or is it RINE?
So.
Either way, it's it's like that. I don't know why it made me think of that. Leave me alone, dude.
Samadre.
I've got a free form thought process, and it's happening right now.
If I have a son, I'm gonna name him Samadre. Samadre Martin. That rolls.
I'm a peacock captain. You gotta let me fly.
Chris, we got a curveball coming.
Why?
Step up to the bat because it's playoff season. We got to be able to break this shit down, and we got one game coming up, and it is a game where if they both lose, that'd be great, but we can't have that happen.
No.
So
I know you hope the Bengals lose.
No, I'm talking about the next game.
The next game?
I have the Bengals pick.
Oh, yeah, we should say that. I have the Bengals picked. I think I kind of mentioned that just by saying I think they're going to roll even with Lamar. But if anybody but Lamar plays, I think they're going to smoke them like 28-13. Like, there's probably just going to be garbage time. They might be resting guys.
I think Lamar will definitely play. But I just, man, before the season, and I hate to keep going back to this, but I mean, I was really good at fantasy. Back in
August.
Too
until the fucking playoffs.
Yeah. So when I was mocking, in a few of my drafts, I had like the 3rd pick and then the 6th pick and stuff. And a lot of those, most times it's Derrick Henry, it's Austin Eckler, it's Jonathan Taylor.
Who'd you get?
I reached for Jamar Chase in both of my leagues.
It
paid off, man, because
he fell into my lap in my other league.
I'm saying this to try to give people a heads up for next year. Whenever you play, the league is leaning towards, okay, I've got the stat leaders right here.
It's all passing.
It's a passing league now.
It's so weird, though, because especially in fantasy, like 4 years ago, do you remember how, like, everybody, it was like running back. 10
years ago, Jamal Charles,
it was crazy how quick it changed. And, like, out of nowhere, it was like, and wide receivers.
Like that. Over the past 2 years, I'd say. It's a really short span.
There's, like, 2 or 3 running backs that go in the first round now.
Well, what I've seen, and what made me go to this is because it used to just be, like, maybe 9 or 10 teams would do a committee. Yeah. Now it's literally the entire league, maybe, because it used to be only Derrick Henry. But now this is the first year where we saw Deontay Foreman get like half of the looks, half of the targets and stuff and touches. So that's why I say next year when you start mocking in August and you start getting your fantasy team ready, when you know what pick you're going to take, lean towards wide receiver. That's what I did. I leaned towards Jamar Chase because I knew he would have the best season. He did get hurt, but he still came back and led me to the playoffs. And so that's why I'm hitting on this game, because that connection that Burrow has to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that is just deadly. That is the best 3-headed monster in the league.
I think you're going to see that more often. It's so stupid it hasn't happened more often. Why wouldn't, if someone has that much success with somebody in college, why wouldn't you, if you have the chance, put them together?
You see it with Jalen Waddle and Tua,
Yeah. There's an obvious connection there, even more so over the Tyreek sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they just know.
I mean, there's times that Jalen Waddle gets the ball, and he's got 2 or 3 defenders near him, and he takes off. Yeah. That is a fast team.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it just, leads me to that point again. I'll hit it again. Just lean towards wide receivers, and pick those. I'm going
kicker first round next year. Fuck it.
Do it, man. Justin Tucker all the way.
All the way, dude. He's the best.
All right, we'll get into this more in the offseason. I'm sorry. I had to gloat.
This
Here's
one,
a curveball.
I'm going to give it to us because we made it. through one season of football.
We did.
We didn't miss a show, man.
We didn't.
We made it. They might have been late.
Yeah.
We might have come in on the wire.
I was
but we didn't
on
miss a fucking
Christmas
show.
vacation at one point, but just like the Griswolds, I come through and get that bonus.
You did. You got the bonus.
That's right,
and
dude.
it wasn't just what did he get in that show or in the movie? He got like at first it was like a
like
a
a gift
membership
certificate,
to like
yeah.
a fucking grocery store or some shit.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we made it, man.
But
so,
the consistency, man, we're here, and we know you guys need this show. So
yeah,
you're
do.
welcome.
You want it in your lives, and you need more of it. So cheers to you, cheers to us, and we're gonna keep the train rolling, man. We got a week every week. We've got this now, so
Damn right.
keep
just
keep
gonna
fucking
keep getting
listening
better.
and tell everybody you know about it.
To Fringe Fanatics.
Fringe Fanatics.
I'll say it again,
Chad
man.
Lee
I cannot
and
believe.
Chris Zane.
That's right. You know what you need to try out for is that voice that does like the movie intros.
Oh, that'd be cool.
In a world,
One man, one mission.
this is a tryout right now. I
Yeah, if
swear.
anybody's
Paramount,
listening,
Fox,
I'll do voiceover work.
Warner Brothers. Listen to this.
I can do anything. Well, then let's get on to this last game. Cowboys at Bucks. You got the 5 seed at the 4 seed in the NFC. The spread is +3. Cowboys are favored.
This is a crazy game. This is a game that we knew 5 to 6 weeks ago was more than likely going to happen because the Bucks would take the shitty NFC South division, and the
They
Cowboys
lost
had.
and still won. They got beat up by Atlanta and still won.
Yeah.
I mean, they took
Well, that game
Brady
didn't
out,
really
but
matter.
yeah.
But yeah.
It's just funny they have an 8-9 record. Brady's first losing record in his career.
Yeah, and he was pissed about getting taken out because he didn't want that losing
No,
record.
he didn't.
But I mean, it's tough. I mean, I've got the Bucks picked. Unfortunately, this is a game. Seriously, I hate both of these teams. I'm so tired of seeing Tom Brady in the league. I hate the Cowboys. But Michael Parsons only 1.5 sacks since December.
He's fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are just starting to scheme for him now.
Well, I think he's a little banged up and he's trying to play through it. I know there was an injury like probably 4 weeks ago or so that he suffered, and he's just been trying to play through it. That never works well for anybody. And since Anthony Brown got hurt, the cornerback for the Cowboys, I mean, God, their secondary has had holes in it, and teams have been picking it off.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the Commanders, or excuse me, Lionel Richie's Commodores really pick them off last week.
Commodore.
Yeah, so I think Brady's going to pick them off, and I think we're going to see Stephen A. light up the Cowboys on Monday, or I guess that'd be Tuesday morning.
Yeah, well, he already lit up, God damn it, Michael Irvin. Did you see that when he went off on him after they lost to the Commanders?
Yeah, I did. That was great.
He was just yelling at him the whole time.
It's so funny when Michael Irvin tries to defend it because he really looks like that student in class that got like called on and he doesn't know the answer. And he's like, all right, but they've got Dak. No, it's like, no, man, they lost to the Commanders when they needed that momentum going into the playoffs, and they fucked it up.
They fucked it all up.
Yeah.
Also, they are 0-7 as a team against Brady, including their Week 1
right.
loss, 19-3, where actually Dak got hurt. That was when he hurt his
And
little
if you
thumb.
don't think Brady cares about those stats, then you don't know Tom Brady at all.
He does. And another thing, Dak's got to clean up the interceptions. I talked about it earlier. He does not want to continue that 7-game streak into an 8-game streak in the playoffs. With 11 interceptions over the past 7 weeks, he's just throwing the ball to the other team on the regular.
It's been a problem.
Yeah. Bucks have the 25th scoring offense, which could be held at bay by the Dallas's 5th-ranked scoring defense, unless they are given good field positions on turnovers by Dallas. Dallas's pass D is ranked in the top 10 in all categories except for offensive completion percentage, or opponent's completion percentage on offense.
Yeah, when I pick my DraftKings lineups, it seems like for wide receivers, they're ranked like 25th or something like that against wide receivers.
Yeah.
But did you mention the spread?
The spread is +3 in favor of the Cowboys.
Yep. Man, I've got the Bucks pick.
I do too.
Yep.
I just think you look at the way Brady's been playing the last couple weeks. Obviously, he got pulled out of the last game, but the game before that, they were on a roll. And, I mean, he has been down this year in terms of yards and touchdowns. and even last year too, but he still is ranked second in yards in the NFL with 4,610.
45 years old.
Yeah,
man.
and he's got 5 game-winning drives, which is tied for second in the NFL.
Let's
so
just
the
go
guy's
ahead
still
and-
gaming.
I want to, since the season ended, I did kind of want to go over this, but just the stat leaders. I'm one of those weirdos, nerds that love stats. To finish the season, of course, we know Patrick Mahomes had 5,250 yards. Justin Herbert finished second, 4,739 yards. And then Brady, 45 years old, 4,694 yards.
Yeah, the future quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders.
I hope not.
It's going to happen.
I hope he's the future owner of a boat that sails out.
He's probably already got a couple of those.
No, that was. I tried to think of something on the fly. Future, just retiree. Let's say
No,
that.
he's not kicking back on.
God, I'm tired of seeing Brady in the league.
He will be probably in the NFC or the AFC West next year. So
Maybe he joins the XFL.
He
Let's
might.
do that.
He
Rock,
might take
recruit him.
One thing though, in Week 17, the Bucs offense finally did click on all cylinders. You did have Evans and Godwin both go over 120 yards apiece,
Yep.
and Godwin caught 3 touchdowns. You can't count out Brady, and especially in the playoffs, man.
That's just
especially in the playoffs.
I mean, I wrote it down. It's like betting against Brady never bodes well.
no,
it
it's
just
like betting
doesn't.
against the house. You
Yeah,
don't do it.
You
He
just
is
don't
the house.
do it. You know.
He built the
Which-
house. He owns the house.
I know I'm really going off on tangent. I'm starting to get a little buzz, but the fact is like, you know, that is the point of the podcast. But it was my buddy Perry that sent me this awesome reel today. That was somebody that was like, I have the secret to betting against the house in Vegas. Okay, the house always wins, but I'll take you to the house that always lose. And he drives to Allegiant Stadium.
Nice. It's right down the street.
It's right down the street. I love it. I'm sorry, it's cheesy, but it's great.
Here's what I think would have to happen in order for Dallas to win. They're going to have to pound the ball down their throats rushing. They're
Yeah.
going to have to use Zeke and Pollard and just hammer the ball constantly, because the Bucs D is ranked 15th against the rush in yards allowed and 17th in yards per carry. I just still think Brady wins. Close game, 24-21. McCarthy's fired.
Yeah.
And you might see Sean Payton wind up there, unless Sean Staley, or not Sean Staley, Brandon Staley loses and is fired.
It would be great. I would rather
Or one other thing,
don't say it.
no, or Sean McVay retires and he goes to Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, well, I guess Sean Payton did say that he doesn't care about the quarterback that's at the team he goes
He's
to.
a liar.
He is a liar. I think he wants to go to Dallas, and if they lose that game in Tampa, Jerry Jones is
Are you
lying.
gonna make it?
Am I gonna make it?
I just sound like you're about to die.
I was trying not to burp on. I'm bad about that. I'm trying not to like make
I was
these.
just like,
I'm trying to not to burp. I'm gonna make it. I'm fine.
good.
Burping
I
on
was
beer.
worried about you. I care about you.
Yeah.
I care about your well-being.
I hope Mike McCarthy gets fired after this year. I've never been a fan of his, and I think if they lose this game, that's what I was going to say. Jerry Jones was said on that radio show the other day that there's a lot more that goes into the Mike McCarthy decision rather than just this playoff game. But no, it's all
Whatever.
on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is a fucking wild card.
Yeah, and it's going to be Tampa Bay that
Yeah.
wins.
Jerry Jones is Charlie on It's Always Sunny when they're doing that gas stealing scheme.
I don't know about that.
You gotta watch it. I forget. I don't know what the episode's called, but they basically start stealing gas and they're selling it themselves because gas is getting ready to go up. And Charlie becomes like an oil tycoon, and then at one point he ends up jumping out the back of the van and says, "I'm a wild card," and jumps out. That's basically Jerry Jones because he's like a Texas oil tycoon guy.
That's pretty much
But,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a tangent.
I was bad at it. There's so many people that's like, oh, it's that always something. I never really got.
I never did either, but when I was managing the tattoo shop, a couple of the guys would quote it all day long, and I was like, "What are you quoting?" And they're like, "It's Always Sunny," and I was like, never watched that show. And they're, are you fucking kidding me? You've never watched It's Always Sunny? So I did start watching.
That's
it.
weird. I've always laughed when I've watched it. I just never.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's just like terrible people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically.
Just like us.
Yeah. Basically. Hey, cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers to terrible
Drink.
people.
Are you empty?
I'm getting there. But let's
You drink like a fish.
let's finish this. I think that's it. We're basically both.
That's it.
Brady's gonna win.
Well, that brings
now
us.
We need to get to our playoff bracket.
Let's etch this in history so that when it comes down to exactly how I predicted, I can take this to Vegas
Okay.
after not putting any money on it.
So we've got. We both picked the Chargers to win. So we've got Kansas City at the Chargers.
Who do you have in that game?
I've got Kansas City winning.
Fuck yes. So do I.
Okay, so then we're gonna move to Cincinnati at Baltimore. We got Cincinnati winning. Buffalo at Miami. We got Buffalo winning. Between those two,
So
I
who
have
do you
Buffalo.
have? Do you?
I
All right.
do.
Well, I've got Cincinnati winning.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
That doesn't bode well for the Chiefs. Okay, so there's where we differ on the AFC side.
So I've got Cincy and KC in the AFC Championship. Let's move to the NFC.
Oh, you're gonna go. Okay, then we'll go.
So
back.
we both
Okay.
have Bucks.
So yeah,
beating
Tampa,
Dallas.
Philadelphia. Who do you have in that one?
I've got Philly.
I've got Philly as well. Moving
Okay.
on to New York at San Francisco.
I know you've got San Francisco.
I've got San Fran. Do you?
Yep,
as well?
I've got
Okay.
San Fran.
Moving on to Philadelphia.
So NFC Championship, Philly
And
against
San
San Fran.
I've got San Fran.
No way.
Yes way.
Well, Brock Purdy.
Brock Big Cock Purdy.
Yeah, you like saying
I
that, don't
do.
you?
Just because you had a problem with it, I don't want to say it all the time.
I didn't want to get in trouble. Well, I've got Philly.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So you've got Philly in the Super Bowl on the NFC side. I've got San Fran. Let's go back to the AFC. Chad
Okay.
wanted to make it dramatic for his own team. KC at Buffalo for me. I've got Buffalo winning.
I know you fucking did, you asshole. Yep, this is a homer bracket. I don't give a shit. It's hard for me. My heart lies with the Chiefs forever. I've got KC over Cincinnati. They will finally get over that hump and beat the Bengals. And it will be at
You
Kelsey.
better hope they don't have to play Cincinnati.
I'm fine with it. They ready. They're gonna shut them down. I
Uh,
don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
if I picked Cincinnati, I would have, like, no question, just Casey. Or Casey would have lost. Just
Well,
because
that's
they
fine.
can't beat him, you know?
Well,
And that's all I can talk shit about right now because my team's not even.
3 out of 4.
They didn't get 5 wins, so. Well, they did get 5 wins, barely. So you've got.
I've got KC, and it's
Philly.
going to be a Kelsey Brothers Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then, of course, I've got KC winning it.
I figured as much. So I've
Honestly, though, with practicality factoring into this, we suck against mobile quarterbacks, and I could easily see Philly winning that because Jalen Hurts could run all over us.
that's the kryptonite for the Chiefs.
Keep
him
mean,
off the
we are
field.
so bad. I mean, Jared Stidham fucking racked up nearly 60 yards on us the other day. So,
Stidham done did him.
yeah.
So
Nice.
in mine, I've got Buffalo at San Fran, or, well, however you want to call it. Because here's one thing we need to talk about, dude. In my situation, that's on a neutral site.
Yeah. Where's it
So,
going to be? You know, I've heard
There was
that,
talks about it could be here.
well,
Indy turned it down.
Yeah, I know Indy turned it down. I've also heard where Vegas has really been petitioning for it. Because they want that money.
Well, I can see that too. It's easy to get into Vegas.
But did
easy
you
to get out
watch
of
the
Vegas.
Chiefs in Vegas game?
No.
Oh, dude, it looked like a Chiefs game.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
fine with that.
Well, dude, that's how it's going to be. There's no, I forget who I was talking about that with. There's no loyal fan base in Las Vegas
Nope.
for the Raiders.
I had to
It's
share that
guys
article.
traveling, and
Yeah.
then I sent that to you earlier, which we got to talk about. They were throwing out Raiders fans for
That's
having
fucked up,
signs
man.
saying "Bench McDaniels"
Yeah.
and
That's I can't stand Mark Davis for that. Whoever made the call, I'm sure it went up to Mark Davis and he said
he was
kick him
probably
up.
pissed about it. He
Yeah.
probably saw it on TV and was
Well,
like,
he
"We
came
need
out
to fucking get this shit
in a
nipped in the bud."
statement. Yeah, I mean, he said he's tired of seeing other teams' fans in his stadium. I mean,
You're the Los Angeles Chargers of the middle of the map.
yeah, I mean, even when the Niners played there a couple weeks ago, it looked like a Niners home game.
Yeah.
That's what you get for moving from Oakland to Vegas without establishing a home, like without establishing a fan base there.
Yeah.
So-
they fucked up.
I don't
But
know where they're gonna. I mean, really, I think the league might try to keep. If it's Buffalo and KC, weather has a big
I
factor
say just
in
put
it.
it in Detroit. It's in a
Oh
dome.
no, they can't because Detroit's where they're redoing their turf.
Bummer. Did
So
you
they
see
can't
where
do-
the Broncos redid the turf for that last game? $400,000. to redo the turf for one fucking game.
Wow.
$400,000 to do the turf for one game, and they're gonna have to tear it up and do it again next year. That's the nice thing about having owners with money. I think that was kind of like a flex to be like, we're willing to do anything. Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton.
That could be. I think. I mean, I don't think they get Jim Harbaugh. I think
Jim Harbaugh is more likely than Sean Payton, just because, like I've been telling you all week, I don't want to give up draft picks for any coach because we don't have any. But we're off topic and on a tangent. But
that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Harbaugh or Dan Quinn. I think Dan Quinn is probably more likely just because of his knowledge of being with Russ before, and then they can bring in an OC who's. I forgot
about their history.
Yeah.
Well, see, and because they already have such an established defense, I think they should build off that and bring in a defensive coach.
And the thing is, too, have you been hearing about this? If Sean Payton does come here or Jim Harbaugh, Vic Fangio could be the fucking. How weird is that?
Yeah.
Did you send me that?
I sent you that, and you were like, "No, they're not going to bring in Vic because of this past."
Because I thought it was because of Payton, anyways, which I don't think is going to happen. Which it's just too fucking much.
I think it's going to be Dallas. I mean, his kids, his family is in Texas. No, that's dumb. No,
they could fire Mike McDaniels.
I think Mike McDaniel is not getting fired.
Sorry.
If he does anything, he's going to go to stand up comedy because that dude is
pretty
hilarious.
Funny. Yeah,
his
press conference.
He's not meant.
We were talking shit about him a little bit in the beginning, but he has kind of warmed up to me in terms of the press conference.
I've always enjoyed his press conferences because he's just so weird. You know,
yeah, like when they were talking about the.
You said he's best friends with Dan Soder, who's a Denver comedian, right? I think that's pretty fucking cool.
They're both from Aurora.
So hey, I never told you about this story. I can't believe I forgot about this. So I work at Small & Company where we have shipments come in and out, and we had it was an old, I don't remember the company, Old Dominion driver, whatever. We had a driver come in, and I'm sitting there bullshitting with him, and he tells me how he's lived in Denver all of his life. And, you know, he sees that I'm a Chiefs fan and we get talking about it. And he says that he used to go to Kyle Shanahan's. Oh, that's it. He's a 49ers fan. That's why we got talking about it. And he's saying he's a 49ers fan because he's good friends with Kyle Shanahan. Because obviously when Mike Shanahan was coaching the Broncos,
I think
Kyle Shanahan was a rich coach, rich kid here that would throw these extravagant parties. And he told me, he was like, dude, there was naked people walking around everywhere. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude, Kyle Shanahan, while his dad was out coaching, would throw these parties because his son Kyle would have a pool house like fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and throw these orgy parties.
Nice.
Yeah. And he said what happened was Mike McDaniel, he was a ball boy for the Broncos. And he said he had a best friend, Mike McDaniel, where he brought on, and the rest is fucking history. Dude.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. He started as a ball boy, worked his way up, got on to Kyle's coaching staff. He wasn't even like a coordinator or anything. I think
got on to Mike's coaching staff?
No, Kyle's.
Mike got on to
Mike
Kyle's.
McDaniel.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And then, like I said, he wasn't even an OC or anything. He was like the passing game coordinator.
Yeah, most times you're an assistant or something.
Yeah, so, and that's, everybody was like, this guy's a fucking genius. And it's like we were talking about with that whole video of him talking to, I forget what wide receiver it was, but he was like, he had us watching Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
You know, like breaking people's ankles. And he's like, that's what I want you to do, getting off the line. He's like, I want that guy to look like that within 3 steps, and then you're already by him. So he's a smart fucking dude, but Miami's one of those teams too. It's just like Houston. You never know what the fucking owner's going to do.
Yeah.
And you look what happened with Flores last year and the whole shit with Brady supposedly going there with Sean Payton and then them losing a draft pick and all that shit. So
yeah,
you never know.
Yep.
All right, well, that did it, man. I've got San Fran winning the Super Bowl. You've got
against Buffalo.
Against Buffalo, yeah. And you've got KC versus Philly, and you've got the homer pick of KC winning.
I do. Yep.
So there it is, people. You heard it here.
It's etched down in history. Put it in the record
into
books.
History. We
carved it into stone.
Into the ether. Well, let's move on. We're not going to touch a lot on the NBA. We're just going to kind of hit some news and run down the standings in each conference, not going over them, just kind of telling you where everybody's at. And then next week, we will be doing a full deep dive into the NBA and the NHL. As we kind of mentioned earlier, we start pivoting into an NFL-less podcast as it starts to wind down. I mean, the NFL never stops, but Chad's leaving.
I gotta take a piss.
Oh, this is the first time, Chad. Hey,
Yeah.
don't forget to lift the seat up. But like I was saying, we are going to be pivoting soon just because the NFL season is winding down. So you are going to be getting more content, and I'm going to be doing more NHL stuff, more NBA stuff. We are going to start adding MLB because we have been slacking on that a little bit. But when we got into this, it was just kind of like we got to go full bore on the NFL, and the MLB season was winding down. So we're going to get back into the NBA right now, and we are going to get into a little bit of news, which big news in the NBA. KD is going to miss a month with an MCL sprain, which is not boding well for the Brooklyn Nets, who have now fallen into second place behind the Celtics. They've got 27 wins, 13 losses, but this is going to be huge. They were on a big surge, winning a bunch of games, looking like they might be the best team in the East as of right now. And now with KD going down, that is going to hinder them quite a bit. So that's a huge thing. Chad's probably going to want to mention something about that when he gets back. But I am going to move on right now to AD is starting to ramp up for the Lakers. He will be back soon, hopefully. Oh, my God. Little man's on the attack. What happened, little man?
I think you just heard the door.
Oh, no. Well, Chad's coming back. So we'll bounce back to KD missing a month with the MCL sprain. Chad, what do you have to say about that?
You already about Durant's injury?
Yeah.
Well, they're saying it's about a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a month, which is huge.
So from what I heard today is their schedule coming up, luckily, isn't that bad. I think they'll be able to make it through it. So,
Well, the big thing is, too, though, Milwaukee and Cleveland are right behind them with 26 wins. So this could easily knock them down to almost fifth place because the 76ers aren't too far off with 24 wins. So we could have some shifting from this injury just in the standings. But
yeah,
we'll see what happens with their easier schedule. I did bounce over to AD starting to ramp up, which is going to be big for the Lakers. LeBron, I think, is a shell of the best player in the NBA of all time. I'm still going to put Michael over him always, but especially with him just taking himself out of that game last night, that's just weak sauce, man.
that was such bullshit, man. I mean,
Weak sauce.
you said it. Like, how close is he to breaking Kareem's record?
I think he's farther away than I thought. I think he's actually 70 points away.
Okay.
But there was a lot of people thinking that he did it just so he could break the record on TNT. But
I see.
I just think he saw the writing on the wall that didn't even matter if he played. They were probably going to get beat up by the Nuggets. So, yeah, they really need AD to get back. Another big thing for the Lakers, leading the Sixth Man of the Year award, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, 25 points last night.
Which he'll become one of a few players to have won an MVP and also won the Sixth Man of the Year award. I think the last to do it was James Harden.
He's really embraced that role.
It took him a while. He did not like it in the beginning.
No,
and that's when
not
they
at
were
all.
doing terrible, when they were trying to figure all this out. So they're making a comeback. I mean, they still got a ways to go. I want to say they are still a ways back in the standings. Yeah, they are like 12th. So they've got a ways to go in the West. But all you got to do is get up there a little ways, and you can sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially with the way they've changed things now with like the playing games and stuff. So
I want to use this time for a little bit just to fucking gripe because
is this mine?
yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
cool.
Take it. I don't
Dry.
know. I've told you before, the listeners know I watch a lot of First Take. Come on in, little man.
He's in.
Maybe shut that door if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, dude. So I've been hearing with this injury to Kevin Durant, I've heard a lot of talks that, oh, it's such a bummer. He was right in the thick of it, right in the running for MVP. I hear nothing of Jokic. And it, to me, I don't care if it's a homer fucking
It's not.
gripe, but dude, it's so evident. I listen to 2 hours of First Take 5 days a week. And I
Never
am
mentioned.
getting fucking tired of it.
Never mentioned.
He's had a triple-double every single night, and I'm about to drive to Bristol, Connecticut to
Good luck.
blow that fucking place up. Okay, not that. I don't want to get kicked
Oh
off
my
YouTube.
God.
Sorry.
He's
But I'm about
threatening
to
mass destruction.
fucking lose it. This guy is putting up historic numbers. Chris, you texted me an amazing stat last night. Read it off right now.
I think he's the third center in history to grab a triple-double without missing a shot. There's been a bunch of guys that have done it, but he went 5 of 5 from the floor, 3 of 3 from the line, a 1 of 1 from three-point land, and he got his league-leading 11th triple-double, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 16 assists.
And I heard nothing about MVP over
And
today.
the thing is too, man, this guy, he took 5 fucking shots last night. That's how good he is
Only
at
5.
dictating the game. He knew last night, Jamal's on, I don't need to do anything. I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to just assist everybody.
How many points did Jamal have?
I want to say it's 30
It
something.
was 34.
34, yeah.
And Bones had another great night, you know?
Yeah.
And that's something else that, like, a lot of the local radio has been talking about, how they want Bones and Murray to figure out some good cohesiveness. But they don't understand that it's just they're not going to be on the court at the same time.
Not
why,
always,
why would
no.
why would you have 2 point guards on the court at the same time?
And they're
The
really
local-
both like shooting guards. Jamal technically is the point guard, but he really is more of a shooting
He is.
guard.
But Jamal had a great night
because
last night.
Jokic is actually the point guard.
He really is.
Yeah.
He seriously is. And right now, it's, you know, I'd say maybe 3 weeks ago, I had a little bit of a tolerancy to it. And maybe this is the bias buzzer beater, just because I'm fed up. It hit the boiling point. 3 weeks ago, I could tolerate it. All right, Anthony Davis was doing all right. Giannis was doing great. Luka. And KD was even playing great. But the stats and how Jokic is making everybody else around him right now
Yeah, better.
so much better. And I'm not hearing any whisper about it on the media. I'm going to use this small platform that we have to gripe about it. I'm going to tweet about it. I'm going to
We're
share
gonna
it.
change the world
I'm going
right here, right now.
Ugh, I'm tired of
I
it.
did
He deserves
see, though.
it right
I did
now.
see, and this is the thing, though. The last 2 years that he's won back-to-back MVPs, mind you, the national media has been against it the entire way.
Yeah.
Even when they knew he was going to win, they're begrudgingly like, yeah, it's probably going to go to Jokic,
Yep.
but should be Embiid. Well, and what's Embiid done aside from cry about not getting it?
And
Jokic
missing
doesn't even
20
care.
games that year.
Jokic doesn't even care, and Malone mentioned that when he took 5 shots. He's like, you have any other superstar in the NBA taking only 5 shots, they're going to be pissed about it.
Yep.
Jokic doesn't care. He just
Well,
wants to win.
We haven't even brought it up on this podcast. About a week and a half ago, he was interviewed by a Siberian reporter. I asked him about this, and of course, he's going to be a little more vocal and give a little more insight
native tongue.
to his natives.
Yeah.
And it says, I don't want the MVP this year. Don't give it to me.
I don't
Because-
think he wanted it last year.
No, he doesn't want it, I don't think, ever. He just wants a championship, which is a true sign of
Yeah.
an MVP. It's like the president. No real president wants to be the president. You're a natural leader,
It's just
and that's
funny,
what he
you
is.
see, like, these other guys, like LeBron or somebody, have these big games, and, like, they talk about them a lot. And
Yep.
anytime a post-game analyst or reporter or silent reporter asks Jokic about it, he's like, I don't care about
Yeah.
numbers. He's like, I'm just happy we won.
And to
And
me,
he's like legit, like, that's how he is.
yep. After each one of these games, I've been texting you and telling you that this is the deepest team in the league, and
Charles said it, so it's true.
it is Charles Barkley, expert
It's
right
terrible.
there. So,
Kenny.
what is our backup center's name? Is it
Vladko Chanchar.
Thank you. I always fuck up his name.
Vladko Chanchar. He sounds like
Jokic is
Charizard.
making
Chanchar.
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 It almost sounds like a Chinese name. a little bit.
Let's not get into that.
I'm not, but it does. You know,
That's a
when you look at his name spelled, it wouldn't be pronounced like
no,
that.
it's got a crazy
But
OVA
he
little
deserves praise.
accent.
Yeah, he deserves praise because Jokic is making him better. When Jokic is on the bench,
Yeah.
he steps in there, and he's been having monstrous dunks. He's been passing the ball well. That is the true sign of an MVP, that you elevate the rest of your teammates. I know I'm going on a crazy rant here because I am not hearing.
I know. I'm going to say one more thing about it, and then we're going to move on. But did you see that pass under the basket when he whipped it around?
Just like that.
Around
Just
the
like
guy's
that.
head. The guy's like, "What the? Why did he throw it?"
It
Like,
happens
shit.
every
Aaron
fucking
Gordon's
game.
dunking on my face.
It to me, and you're gonna hate this, but literally the two teams that I love have the MVP.
Yeah, well, we
Every
already know.
fucking game, there's a highlight of the MVP, and this is what happens with Jokic. I mean, 5 shots, man. 5 shots. He makes all of them. He elevates the team around him, and I'm saying this, and I'm going on about it forever because I'm not hearing a goddamn whisper around it.
We're not going to. It's
on
going
the
to be just
national
like
media.
last year. We're
It's
not
ridiculous. He
going
had a triple-double last
to.
year.
They're
and I
going to
listened
want
to two-
Tatum because of the market
Yep,
that he plays
I forgot
in.
about that too.
Tatum's the one that they're all pushing right now.
Dude, and that's
And
what
don't
I
get
thought.
me wrong, Boston is doing incredible things. That core, I appreciate Boston because they are like the Nuggets. Those guys have all been drafted.
They're a deep
there.
team.
They've all been picked by their homegrown guys. Brown and Tatum, I think, both were drafted by them, and they've done it for the last few years. They've kept building and building and building. They have an easier run to the playoffs and to the finals because of the East being what it is.
Miami is a shell of themselves.
But
Butler's out there trying to hurt.
I think honestly, Jokic, if he was on a team in the East, he would have already won a title by now.
No doubt.
But because of the situation he's in and him being drafted once again in the second round, which you hear nobody drafted in the second round.
During a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah, during a Taco Bell commercial, his name pops up. This guy we're watching, I think, depending on how long he plays, he could become quietly one of the best people to play in the NBA. I'm talking like top 10.
I think quietly is the key word in that because we're not hearing any of it because he's not a player like Embiid. Even Giannis is somewhat of a humble guy. But
I like Giannis.
Yeah, I know.
And I think he deserved the MVP when he got it.
He's, to me,
Embiid doesn't.
the runner-up right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he put up that quadruple double the other day. That's
insane.
Very
Yeah, I would
impressive.
put it probably right now. Jokic, Tatum, Giannis, Luka.
Okay, I've got it just reversed. I've got Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and then Luka.
Okay.
Because Luka, they lost to the Celtics the other day, and they got blown out. That did not look good for them.
Though, man.
Yeah, because they have
82 games.
Okay, and this is the next point. We're gonna go. I knew we were only gonna hit on the NBA for a little bit, but we're getting to the midseason, and next week I'll give you a little preview. We're gonna hit the midseason awards that we're gonna predict.
Yeah,
obviously.
We'll probably do that for both the NBA and the NHL next week. We'll see.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously, we're picking Jokic as the MVP.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's easy. It's fucking easy. But the thing of it is, there's been rumors that next year Luka might come to the Nuggets.
I've been hearing that. If that happened, the Nuggets would be unstoppable.
Dude, that is a super team.
Dude, trade MPJ right now to him. Take him.
Take MPJ and Jamal Murray. I love
Ugh.
Jamal. I do.
If he had to go, I would send him in that trade. But imagine Jokic, Luka, and Murray.
That'd be okay. Send
And Aaron Gordon.
MPJ. Dude, Aaron Gordon. That's another. I can't believe we haven't mentioned him. Aaron Gordon's been playing great.
He's having his best season of his career.
He is best season so far. He played awesome last night.
Yeah, always. He's always playing awesome.
I'd say take MPJ, go ahead, take Gordon and take Bones, and I'm fine. Give us Luka, and then maybe like a 7th or a draft pick or something.
Yeah, that would be a super team of all super teams.
I mean,
right there.
because here's the big key to this. Luka says he wants to play with Jokic. These are two international teams.
Yeah.
They don't come from the same country, but they're close enough to where they're really good friends. That would be destructive to the NBA.
Yeah, it would be. We'd basically be the Golden State Warriors. You know, like that team. It's just a
With
dynasty
Durant.
for a little bit. Yeah, it's just like this isn't even fair. But all right, that's about all we've got. We're gonna move on. We've got the Daily Dose of Excellence coming at you right now. John Daly is gonna hit it hard.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard.
All right, you just heard John Daly, our official show mascot, with Hit It Hard.
Chris, before we get into that real quick,
Yes.
will you continue that point? We're going to just keep harping on this if you don't mind.
Okay, we're gonna just
I don't care. I don't give a
we're
shit,
gonna
man.
hammer it into their heads. What I was talking about before we got going is I know Michael Jordan is obviously the best basketball player ever. He was above and beyond anybody else. But Wilt Chamberlain is the guy who turned basketball into what it is today. And without him, you wouldn't have Michael Jordan. You wouldn't have any of these
You
people.
wouldn't have dunks.
No. And it's Jokic is getting compared to him on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Whether it be through setting records or just comparable to him. And he's getting compared to somebody who effectively changed basketball into what it is today. So I just think it needs to be said that Jokic needs to be talked about more.
I think it does. And I'm sorry to just keep harping on this. It's just
Chad's mad about it.
I fucking am, man.
He's turned up.
You know,
Turned up like a turnip.
Turned up like a turnip. I'm gonna dress like Greg at New Year's
Yeah.
Eve, man. Fucking shout out to Greg.
Gregers.
Mr. Maher. The thing of it is you're right. This is a center that's changing the game, and we are not seeing enough media attention about it. And because I'm a now homer for the Nuggets, I am gonna beat the fucking drum until I hear about it. And I feel like we're not gonna hear about it until he's finally reluctantly given the award at the end of the year when
Which
he's
he
in
probably will be.
Siberia riding
Yeah.
a horse.
Yeah, riding on
It's-
his chariot.
And he won't even want it because he just wants to get a championship. But we have the team that's deep enough to do it this year.
Yeah, so let's hope they do it.
Yeah.
But
Let's change the subject because
let's
I'm
get on to
fucking
something.
pissed.
Chad's pissed. Let's get on to a little bit of a, I guess, lighter subject. It's still not super light, but the DDOE of this week is former NFL running back Peyton Hillis, who is in the ICU after saving his 2 children from drowning off the beach in Pensacola, Florida. Some of you might remember this guy. He was the 2012 Madden cover athlete. He did get drafted by the Broncos before he was traded to the Browns. That was when he did get put on the Madden cover. He had, I think, 1,600 yards for the Browns and 13 touchdowns. Hell of a year. Kind of fizzled out, though. Did play for Chad's Chiefs at one point. He did retire, though, after a couple stints with a few teams after that. But he is in ICU. He's having trouble with his kidneys right now. He did have problems with his lungs. He was, I guess he basically drowned, saving his kids, more or less. He was in a coma for a little bit. We're trying to figure out. I've seen different things. It's hard to get an update because some articles say that they're from like yesterday or today, but they're still talking about stuff that's older. I think he's doing better. His uncle did tweet out that he is getting better. They're just having issues with his kidneys right now. So I guess, I didn't even realize drowning would affect your kidneys, but again, we are not doctors.
Yeah, we have established that
Yeah,
after this last week.
We don't know what the fuck we're talking about when it comes to medical stuff. So.
Not at all. This obviously is kind of an older story. It came out not long after the last episode came out, but I mean, there's
it was like a day or two.
no
And
other person that's worthy of taking this award. I mean, it's just something that like we all, his uncle, isn't that what he said? His uncle?
Yeah, his uncle was the one that kind of
He said
tweeted out the
saving
update.
his kids from drowning is something fathers get, and he risked his life for his babies. Man, I pray he finds a way back to his family. He deserves to see them grow. As a father, that's just what you're supposed to do.
Hey, if you were drowning, I'd jump in and save you. Damn it!
I would
And
say
you're not even my offspring.
Well, I know you would be a little more buoyant than me.
I am,
but
I'm a little bigger.
Just a little bit. I know I would be too, especially after eating the spicy nugs that I'm gonna get tonight.
Oh,
That's
shit.
what Hannah's requesting. So
Spicy noogs.
Probably gonna get some Wendy's.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Frosty, dip the french fries in it like a psychopath, but it
those
is
are
really
so
good.
We digress.
Indeed.
Either way, Peyton
yeah.
Hillis, man, he was, I mean, to touch on his NFL career, that motherfucker was like a Mike Allstott fullback bulldozer.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah, the moose.
And so it's cool to see, you know, I mean, we've covered this twice, you know. I mean, I think there's something to stepping in the NFL and what we've talked about before with that fight or flight syndrome where you either fly from the situation or you fight it. And if you fight it, you were on the field trying to win in a dire situation where people are coming after you. And I think that translates to a consequential situation where your life is in danger. You're going to save people. And we've seen that throughout, you know, the past few
We got to
months.
talk about the way he actually got his start in the NFL. He was originally drafted as a fullback, and he was not playing. He was suited up. The Broncos lost all 3 of their running backs in one game, and they had nobody else to put in. It was when Josh McDaniels was the coach, and they put in Peyton Hillis, and this guy just started running over everybody. So he's just one of those people that, even in football, rose to the occasion, and clearly when his children were in dire need, he rose to the occasion. His kids were fine. They didn't have any issues or anything. I don't even think they had to be taken to the hospital, but he had to be flight for life off the beach and taken to the hospital. So prayers for him. Positive vibes going his way. Let's hope he pulls through unscathed. So this DDOE goes to Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, trying to save those who
you love.
Yeah, that's all that matters right there. So,
Well, here's the Peyton Hillis. Here's to the end of the show. We're right there, Chad. We made it.
We made it.
Episode 19. Cheers to you.
we're rolling right along, man.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers to Peyton Hillis, saving your family.
Sweet. Sweet.
Love it.
What
What a good episode.
That was a good episode.
Playoffs coming, man. The
Playoffs.
playoffs. You talk what? Playoffs? Playoffs? Love it.
You play to win the game.
One other thing, we still have these stickers available. If anybody's listening out there and wants stickers,
Yeah, we've got them.
give us a holler.
We're going to get more soon. We got merch coming soon. I mentioned it last week. Probably in a couple months we'll have some stuff. The upgrades we were talking about doing, we had a little snafu, so we're hoping to get that in the next week. Hopefully. Fingers
It'll be coming
crossed.
soon. It'll be coming soon.
So we're not in any rush. I think the way we're going right now, we could roll with this way for a while, but we want to upgrade and get better because we want to give you the best show we can, and we've been doing that up until this point. So let's hope that we can make it even better from here on out.
And once again, please, we would like to insert a new segment where you guys send in emails or DMs to our social media.
Message us directly, message the show,
Fringe
however you want to
Fanatics
do it.
podcast at gmail.com.
Yep, Fringe Fanatics podcast at gmail.com. Email us, message us, get in touch with us. We love you guys. We appreciate you all for listening and tuning in.
We do.
Chad Lee, I love you, buddy.
I love you, buddy.
You have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Wild card weekend. Here we come.
Wild card.
Wild card.